Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews. It is late because the video I'm talking about, or the episode I'm talking about today, came out yesterday. I'm a little bit mixed about this video for the reason. Now let's talk about the reason actually. I've kind of been delayed. So part one was a bit of prep work. It's my daughter's first birthday today, so happy birthday to you, little one. So we're doing some work around that, so I didn't get to do the video. And part of the delay also is I've got a type of strike against my account based on my last week's video, which has confused me a little bit because it's not a copyright strike, it's a community guideline strike. So I don't know if I've said something inappropriate in my video, but it's been flagged down. If you check the playlist, it may not be visible, so I've appealed it because I don't necessarily know why I've been given the strike, because it's not a copyright strike, it's a community guideline strike. I try not to swear in my videos. I haven't really talked about anything inappropriate, no anti-Semitism, anything like that, so I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm gonna upload this video. I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I'm not gonna monetize or anything like that. To be fair, I've only got 58 subscribers and not everybody watches this, but still, it's good to know it's earning something. But that aside, I might actually monetize and see what happens. But that aside, I'll do the review. I'll give you my thoughts. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I might need to sort out this community guideline stuff first. And if it is a situation where I'm continuously getting flagged for this anime reviews, I might not do it. Because essentially, if this closes down, the chances a lot of the people that are on this channel that watch this may not follow me through onto the next channel, and I don't want to go through that process of building up from zero again, even though I've only got 58 subscribers. But you know what I mean, it's a process and it's disheartening to go through that. Anyway, that being said, ramble aside, let's get into the review. So let's talk about the actual episode itself. The way I'm going to do this, I'm going to focus this section on what I think of the episode, and then break down another segment about progress, how it compares, and things of that nature. So let's kind of talk through what we actually see in this chapter, or this episode. So in the episode, we have a little bit of a recap, and we see that Asta's grimoire has been released, and then we get a pretty fleshed out backstory into the promise. Now, there's two ways to look at this from a technical breakdown point of view. If you look at it from the point of view of story progression to how much we're really going to get for the 13 episodes, you could argue that it doesn't necessarily do us any favors purely from a story progression point of view. But the counter argument from this as well is something so early in the series I think we basically needed. So to explain that further, the actual backstory and context takes up the majority of the episode, and the outcome of the battle, if you think about where we were last to where we are now, the end of episode 2, it's only a little bit of it. So reality, it does take a big chunk of the story up. So we see a flashback. We see that Asta is essentially the more boisterous, the more positive, the more courageous, the more confident of the two children. Now, essentially, what happens is Yuno gets a letter that he has to give to one of the neighboring towns for food because it's winter, and he runs into a person who's a drunk, and he basically gets his pendant or necklace taken. Asta jumps in after finding out that he hasn't come home yet. He basically gets beaten up, and the necklace gets given back, and then we see this promise. Then it flashes back essentially to where we were last, and we see the ending of the fight, which is brilliant. And I like how, although this is more for anime only, if you think about the character, when he pulled out that big sword, the fact that he's physically been training his body and his muscles because he didn't have magic, and he's got a big sword that he needs to swing around, it kind of goes hand in hand. So all the training is paying off for something like this. So I like that it's even mentioned and referenced in the actual anime episode. So I like the fact that they did that. We kind of get to see the promise. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about with this, purely because it's a relatively simple chapter, but I want to talk about this in the context of other anime. So or manga. One of the things that a lot of other YouTubers talk about, or a lot of the YouTubers have said early on in Black Clover stories, it's a carbon copy of all the shonen previously. It's essentially a copy of the stuff that's been coming out, or it's like become a cliche, so to speak, based on the manga or the anime of the last 10 years. But you can look at this in two ways. Yeah, you can look at it that, but then you've got to think the anime and the manga that they're getting compared to is a carbon copy, or a copy, or has influences or has inspiration from the previous generation. So there's always going to be an idea of that. You got to think from a storytelling point of view. There's going to be dynamics and storylines and kind of intersections of stories and characters and things of that nature in certain arcs that will resemble something else. That's the nature of the beast when you come last or second or next. That something before you will have a resemblance to what you've done. And that's fine, because it could be a way of the actual author paying homage, respect to the people that have come before him or her. That being said, let's talk about it now. So if you look at the character, he's an orphan. Who does that remind you of? Naruto, because his parents died, right? Cool. He doesn't know where he comes from because he's an orphan. We don't know his past. We don't know much about his history. Who's that like? Ichigo didn't know much about his past at the beginning as well. He wants to be the Sorcerer Emperor, the Sorcerer King. What is that like? That's like, you know, Naruto wanting to be the Hokage. That's like, you know, Luffy wanting to be the Pirate King, Sorcerer King. So there are these things, but ultimately, if you think about it from a shonen perspective, which character that's the main character doesn't have a bold goal? Every one of them does have a bold goal, and that's why you watch it, you pay interest, and you think, you know what, I want to see if he actually makes it. What happens? What are these challenges? You wouldn't really want to watch a story. You may, but you may more than likely won't want to watch a story if the guy's goal is to do nothing. You know, like, can you imagine I'm a main character of a story, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be the best at doing nothing. You're not really going to be interested in that. It's not really going to do much. So having a bold goal, wanting to be the best, showing what, you know, what you're made of, is all cool to me. I mean, to be fair, I'm a fan of Bleach, I'm a fan of Naruto, and I'm a fan of One Piece. I read them all, I've watched them all, I've enjoyed them all, you know, spoke passionately about them all. So for me, for this, I don't see the problem. Now, there's differences. Luffy becoming Pirate King is something he's decided on his own because he saw somebody and he kind of became inspired. In this episode, we get that resemblance. He gets told a story. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna be the Sorcerer Emperor." Why does Luffy want to become the Pirate King? Because he wants to be the most free on the sea. Why does this guy want to become the Sorcerer King? Because he wants to help everybody else. He wants to be there, make everything happy for everybody else, make everyone happy, give them good things, and basically protect everybody. That's what he wants to do. Think about Luffy now. Put him aside, sorry. Think about Naruto now. Naruto wanted to become the Hokage because he wanted to be essentially acknowledged for existing. He wanted to prove his existence. He wanted to be numero uno. He wanted to be the best, so he can say that, you know, his existence was not a fluke. It wasn't a waste. It was something of value. That's how he started. When he became Hokage, he realized being a leader of the village was about protecting everybody, and his story developed from there. Whereas if you look at the beginning point, it's different. So Asta's goal is a lot more noble, naive to a certain degree, but he's determined, and his goal is a very noble and very direct. He's an annoying character to some people. Yeah, people don't like him as much, but you can't deny the fact that the goal itself is bold. Number one, it's bold, and it's under the purest of intent. So it's not to do it for power, for wealth, for fame. It is a bit for fame, but it's so that he can do good things and protect everybody. So that being said, a relatively simple episode, sorry. I've talked a little bit about thoughts. Now I'm going to talk about what this means in the grand scheme of things. So, I've talked about the episode. I've talked about a few different things that people have mentioned about it. Let's just talk in context of what this means in story progression. So if you look at these two actual episodes that have come out so far, that ultimately is a fleshed out version of the first chapter. We get a bit of a kind of time skip for 6 months, and like next thing we see in the manga is basically the entrance exam, or the selection for the teams. So if you want to become a royal guard and whatnot, right? It's mentioned in the previous episode as well. There's a few people at the Grimoire selection that mention it. Oh, we're gonna go do this in 6 months' time. So that's the goal. That's kind of been hinted at. Now, because of these two, if you think of it, we've got 13 episodes or so, right? You've got these two. We've only got 11 episodes for us to train her to be ready for the selection, join a team, and then do whatever else happens after that. So there's loads of stuff that I don't know any spoil, but ultimately, as far as I understand it, the way it's going, it's going to be selection. Does he join a team? Which team? What does he do with that team? And then does his first mission. That's what I think we're going to get, because from a storytelling point of view, that makes sense. If now you compare that to My Hero Academia, when they had their first season, he wanted to join the school. He joined the school. He got a quirk. He had a few classes, and he was allowed to stay. And then they had this kind of big, kind of a class where they went to the place that's got like all sorts of elements for rescue, and they had this big scuffle with the bad people, and it was 13 episodes. So I think that's what we're gonna get, and that's what it seems like. Because ultimately, you could have easily put a lot of this in one. They fleshed out the backstory, which, to be honest with you, is fine, because it allows an audience who's just introduced to the story to actually appreciate the vow, the promise, and it adds more meat and content to that, as in you really kind of invest yourself in the character a little bit more, or the promise at least. So I like that they're doing that, but it's probably going to gear towards that. What this also hopefully will set up, though, is a bigger season 2, much like My Hero Academia, where we got a bigger arc, we had a lot more things going on, and hopefully we'll have booming manga sales for Black Clover, so we can get more content. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of, I mentioned it earlier on with the whole guidelines check. I don't know what they're going to do with this. For the people that do watch my videos, that do comment on it, those I'm more in the know about guideline strikes and things of that nature. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I need to improve on, because I'm not really doing anything consciously bad. I'm not really talking about anything specifically bad. I'm literally just promoting an anime and a manga that I enjoy myself and sharing my thoughts. So let me know in the comment section below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If it does hit the fan, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might need to shut down, but we'll see. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.